In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the match and index functions. So just to have a look at what we have on the spreadsheet here, I have a fairly large table at the bottom, and I have two smaller tables at the top, which is where I'm going to be inserting my match and index functions. I've also inserted two pictures, which breaks down the match and index functions in detail, which I will be going over as we insert the functions into the spreadsheet. I also want to mention that I do have named ranges in this workbook. So just to have a look at them quick, if you click on the drop down arrow in the name box, you'll see there are the three names that I will be using in my formulas. If you would like to have a look at how the named ranges work, there is a link in the video description as well as at the end of the video that you can click on to see how to create them and how they work. So I'm going to start off with the match function first. So just to explain how it works, the match function searches for a specific item in a range of cells and then returns the relative position of the item in that range. So just to elaborate on what I'm saying, I'm going to search for Nikki Cleary within this range over here. And then the match function will tell me the relative position of Nikki Cleary within this range. So I've broken down the match function over here in the picture. I'll go through it step by step as I type the formula out. So I'm going to select cell B6 and I'm going to type out equals MA, and in the drop down menu I'm going to double click on match. So the first step, what is the lookup value, or rather where is the lookup value? So the lookup value is Nikki Cleary and it's inside of cell B5. So I'm going to click on cell B5 and it will enter that into the formula. So I'm going to put a comma there. So the second step, lookup array, where must it find the information? Now you'll see I put a little note there saying name your range to make it easier. So I have named this column EMP underscore name. So to get the name in my formula, after the comma, I'm going to type out EM, which is the first two letters, and there is EMP underscore name. I'm going to double click on that. It will enter the named range in the formula. It will also highlight the named range in red. I'm going to put another comma there. So now you have to choose a match type. So as you can see, the 1 represents less than, the 0 represents an exact match, and the -1 represents a greater than. So I'll do an example of the less than and greater than match type when I'm doing the match example with the relative position. For now, though, I'm going to do an exact match. So I'm going to double click on the option that says 0. It enters a 0 into the formula there for me. I'm going to press enter, and it returns a 32. So Nikki Cleary is the 32nd cell within this named range over here. So there we go, Nikki Cleary. So next, I would like to find out what Nikki is earning. So I'm going to use the index function for that. So with cell B7 selected, I'm going to type out equals IN, and in the drop-down menu, I'm going to double click on index. So the first step, where must it find the information? So I'm going to use the entire table as my array in this formula here. So I have named the table EMP underscore info. So that is the name that I'm going to use in the formula. So I'm going to type out EM, and then I'm going to double click on EMP underscore info. I'm going to put a comma there. So now the second step, what is the row index number? So I am getting that information from the match function that I did in cell B6. So I can see there that it's 32. So I'm going to type out 32. I'm going to put another comma. So now it wants to know the column number. So I am looking for the earning. So here's the earning on the far right-hand side. So I'm going to count the columns from left to right until I get to the earnings column. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is the 6th column. I'm going to put a 6 in the formula. I'm going to press enter, and that is what Nikki is earning, 75,000 Rand. So it lines up there perfectly, 75,000. So now if I go and change the employee name, let me put in the Rita Lawson. If I press enter, I can see her position, but now I have to go to the index function and just change the row number from 32 to 13 press enter, and I can see what this person is earning. Now, I think you guys will agree with me. It's almost easier if you just put in the cell reference in this formula over here instead of the actual row number. So I'm going to click on cell B6. So now if I change the employee name, I'm going to type in there Anna Morris. The match will update, which also means that the index will update at the same time. And there we go. Anna Morris is earning 150,000. There we go. So let me show you another match example using a different match type, the less than or greater than. So I am going to do the match in cell F6 this time. So I want to see who is earning more than 100,000 Rand. Now the match type will give me the quantity. So it will give me a count of how many people are earning more than 100,000 within this table here. So I'm going to type out equal MA, and I'm going to double click match in the drop down menu. So the lookup value is inside of cell F5. It is 100,000. So I'm going to click on the 100,000. It will give me cell F5. So I'm going to put a comma there. Now the lookup array is this column over here, the earnings column. Now it has been named earnings. So I'm just going to type out the first two letters. I'm going to go EA, and there's earnings. I'm going to double click on it, and I'm going to put another comma there. So now it's asking me the match type. So if I want to see greater than, I'm going to double click on the greater than option. It will give me a -1. I'm going to press enter, and there's the number that I'm looking for. So there are 16 people earning more than 100,000 Rand within this table here. So let me do an example with less than. So I want to see how many people are earning less than 100,000. So I'm just going to delete the match function there in F6. And then I'm just going to sort the earnings column from the smallest salary to the largest salary. So to do that, I'm going to click anywhere in the column. I'm going to go to my data tab at the top, have a look in the sort and filter ribbon group, and I'm going to click on sort smallest to largest, and there's my sort over there. So I'm going to do another match function in cell F6. So I'm going to select the cell. I'm going to type out equals MA, and I'm going to double click match in the drop down menu. So my lookup value is the same. It's also inside of cell F5. So I'm going to click on the cell. It will enter F5 in my formula. I'm going to put a comma, and my lookup array is also the same. It is the earnings column, which has been named earnings. So I'm just going to type out EA, and then I'm going to double click on earnings. I'm going to put another comma, and this time I'm going to double click on the 1, which represents less than. It'll enter the 1 in the formula. I'm going to press enter, and there's the number that I'm looking for, 24. So that means that there are 24 people earning less than 100,000 Rand within this table. So there you have an example of how to do the match function with the other two match type options. And that also concludes the video of how to work with match and index functions.